Welcome to Club Geneva. I'm your host, Shay. Tonight's topic will be, what do women want from men? That's a very curious topic for a number of reasons. We have a lot of those questions and answers going back and forth on the online community and also in our communities and neighborhoods about that specific question. And I have a very special person here with me today. His name is John. And John, I would like you to go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself.
Hello, guys. My name is John. I have known Eric for many, many years, so I'm really excited to kind of dive into this conversation with him. We've had many conversations on the golf course, so it's never been one that we've been able to actually film and record. So now we get the opportunity to kind of discuss what we normally talk about and just kind of bounce some ideas off each other. So I'm really excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
No problem. What do you think about that topic? What do women want from men? What does that mean to you?
Oh, I think it's a lot of different layers to that specific topic, but a lot of it is, I would say, communication. A lot of it would be respecting your partner. So a lot of things. I mean, everybody's idea of what that means is going to be different. You just kind of got to figure out which ones are more important for you, and kind of dive and discuss and think about those. So.
Awesome. So yeah, man, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate you being here. This is a fun conversation. I noticed that it's a lot of fellas all over the internet that are totally on this kick about women versus men. What do you think about online men's advocacy? Because that was a show that we had a while back. What do you think about that?
I think it's just a tool to be able to express your feelings. And a lot of times the people will kind of give you their perspective from their hurt or their trauma. So everybody's going to have a different perspective. So it's kind of interesting to see, guys talking collectively to figure out ultimately, like, what's the root of the cause? Because, at the end of the day, everybody has a different struggle, but it's still the same.
I get that, but to me, it's just this never ending battle because both sides think they have it right. So I just wonder, where does it stop at? Because at the end of the day, it's like we want a solution in our marriages and our relationships and our, just in our culture when it comes to women and men, because realistically, Black men and women, we don't have a high rate of marriage. And oftentimes you can see a lot of our relationships that are going through a lot of struggles versus other communities, other cultures, right? Especially online. It seems like that society is very open to looking at everything that we do and exposing things that we do in our community versus kind of hiding things that they do in their communities, right? So I think it's an overexposure online of African-American relationships. So, yeah, I just wonder where it's going to end, man.
I don't ultimately think it ever will end as long as, we got man and woman.
So, I think we can talk about this forever, just this tension. Me and you were both married. I've seen a lot of people, though, who are married that struggle with marriage. Do you think that therapy is important in marriage? Because I hear a lot of people say that they don't necessarily need therapy in their marriage, or they feel like their marriage is okay and they never need that checkup in their relationship. What do you think about therapy in marriage, especially in the Black community?
I actually am a firm believer in therapy. I think therapy allows some things that go unsaid to be said. I think that it allows an individual to be able to understand themselves a little more.
How long have you been married?
Now it's going on 5 years.
Congratulations.
It's going on. Well, actually, it's 5.5 years, but it's not been a struggle because a lot of it's been really what it boils down is to communication. I'm a firm believer that I don't think that people communicate effectively.
Or enough.
I think people communicate, and even in the magnitude of what they communicate, I don't think they communicate with the purpose. When I say with the purpose, okay, so you've told me what your issue is. How can we fix it? And I think that's the missing piece, that people don't go that extra step and actually, okay, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. How can we resolve this?
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
So what do you do when you're in a relationship and you find out that the cons outweigh the pros? When is it a deal breaker?
And so it kind of goes back to, like I said, even before marriage, like I feel as though a person that really truly knows themselves would identify those things that could potentially be deal breakers before you get married. A lot of times we overlook those, and now we're trying to backtrack after we've already made this big commitment of knowing that, you know, I really am having a problem with some of the things that they've done. So as far as a deal breaker goes, of course, yes, I'm retracting whatever agreement you've filed divorce for somebody. Of course, yes, you're breaking your vows.
Right.
But at the same time, you have one life.
I mean, but now you're talking about personal accountability, which, in my opinion, being accountable to ourselves is something that we definitely struggle with. And oftentimes we sacrifice our own understanding of what that accountability is for someone who we love, because you know the type of person who you should and shouldn't be with before you ever even got with that person, before you even, you know, laid eyes on them. You already know what your expectations would be of a woman that you want. With men, we have to definitely do a better job of being accountable to ourselves and teaching our sons and other men to do the same. Or you end up with, I really feel like the marriage issue in our country is a product of the choices that men make.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I do. You made a good point in saying sex kind of blinds a lot of things. But then that euphoria goes away, and then guess what? All of those red flags that you ignore, they're still sitting there. And that's what then becomes the problem, because you've allowed sex to kind of blind the fact that this person isn't really a good person for me.
For you.
Not that they're not a good person. They're just not a good person for me, but I allowed sex and them, you know, doing some of those nice things for me to blind what I really feel, and me being accountable and what I would like on a woman. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, it's funny that you say that. I actually, my previous girlfriend before my marriage, I actually told her we're not having sex. I want to get to know you for you before ever going there. And society has groomed women into believing that is the telltale sign of being with someone. So the first thing she said to me, and she even told her mom this, her mom said, well, what's wrong with him? I'm like, because I want to approach our relationship in a different perspective, not basing it off of sex, but basing it really off of a true friendship. And it was weird for her to hear that from a man, because most men, that's the first thing they want. Yes, we are physical creatures, but as you get older, that's not the only thing. Like, I need somebody that's companion. I need somebody that's my partner. I need my best friend.
Well, we know how that worked out, because you got married after that to someone else. So what started that breakdown in that relationship?
Oh, with
that person before, the previous person.
So that one, that's a long story. That one I'll probably.
If you could put it in one sentence, what would it be?
It was a breakdown of communication.
Okay.
So she was in the military, and some things happened in the military that I wasn't aware of, and a situation came about which I resurfaced. Those feelings of what had happened in the military, and it was a weird situation. But again, it goes back to me saying communication is a big part in the relationship. I am a firm believer in that.
Okay, so talking about communication, and we're saying that, you know, the people who women, we're saying that women, to some degree, we have to ask them specific questions, and we have to be better communicators, right? But how do we create that space so that women will want to share more about those things that, like I said, things that, you know, that they necessarily don't want to talk about, those hidden things, those secrets, those fears, those worries, those deficits. how do we get them to have how do we give them a safe space to be able to talk about that?
And this may go against, you know, a lot of people's thoughts, but this, I think I figured it out. I think
Okay.
I really do. Hear me
All
out
right.
here. I feel
Let's
like
see.
women don't like talking to their spouses because they're not getting the answer that they assume they're going to get in their head. So if they go talk to their friend, they go talk to someone else, they're going to give them the answer
Mm-hmm.
that they're looking for. So if you notice, if you're communicating and your wife is telling you something about you and you have a different idea of how that situation might have
Right.
went down, you guys aren't effectively communicating. But she can go to her girlfriend and be like, girl, this dude did this, and this. She's just going to agree. She's not telling her girl, well, what was your fault in this? So
Okay.
it's easier for me to go talk to someone else because they're not going to give me the raw truth about, hey, I could have been wrong in this situation. So it's difficult for men and women to go and talk to their spouse or the person that they're directly needing to speak to because they truthfully just want to hear
The echo chamber.
what they want to hear.
They just want to be in the echo chamber.
Exactly.
Okay. I think women have had an echo chamber for a very long time, though.
For sure.
Women always had the ability because they're social, right?
Mhm.
And that's the thing where I think men lack at as well, being social. I don't think that that's a horrible thing that women go to the echo chamber to hear what they want to hear. I think it's a horrible thing that we don't sometimes. I think we should probably have more friends, and like me and you, when we talk about the things that we talk about, we kind of bounce ideas off of each other.
We do.
And
But
we've-
at the same token, Eric, if you are a good enough a friend to me to be like, hey, John, no, you were wrong. There's not enough friends that will tell the other friend the truth without fear of losing that friendship. Like I respect you enough to you tell me, hey, John, no, in this particular situation, this was your fault.
Right.
And I'm not gonna like, oh, we not cool no more.
Okay.
Because I respect you too much. But a lot of times these false friendships, oh girl, I'm not gonna tell you what you really should have done or tell you that you were wrong in fear of losing that friendship.
Thought about that before in the past. Like when you have people around you who only want you around because like maybe they're single. I think that's a bad thing, which me and my wife, we had discussions about that, how men and women, that you shouldn't have friends around you who are single, who are not in committed relationships, because you're going to get some horrible shit that comes from that. You're going to get some bad ideas.
Oh, for sure.
And it's going to break down your relationship versus being in a marriage and having friends who are in committed relationships. Now you have that experience where we can actually help each other work through things. But let me ask you this, just switch subjects. How do you balance being a provider and a partner in a modern relationship today?
I feel that though this day and age, I mean, we are in the technology space. Like everything is expensive. Back in the day, it was the man was the provider, the woman took care of the home. I no longer really believe that. Like it's possible, but with how society is, and women have their wants and men have their wants. Like it takes two people. So I'll be the first to say, me and my wife, we do everything. I do dishes. I do the laundry. She cuts the grass. You see what I'm saying? She comes out and she'll help me shovel the snow. It's not gender based. Like, okay, he has to do this. And in the same token, we both provide. We love going on vacations. Okay. So in order for us to be able to go on vacations and for what we love to do, we both are doing this. And it's more of a team effort as far as us being able to provide. So.
Right. Well, me and my wife, we're a little bit different. I kind of see us. We do have those gender specific roles to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we want it that way. I think we were raised like that. And she was raised like that. But for me, like when I notice when I step in and I try to take some of her roles away from her, it kind of freaks her out a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like if I'm washing dishes or something, she'd be like, move, get out the way.
But
or,
that right there goes exactly what we were saying. There's women that they hold those sacred. Mm-hmm. And so every relationship is different because in honesty, I have always been gender role based, but I have a strong minded woman
Right.
that she's like, no, we're both going to do this together. So I've had to adjust my relationship. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a woman should never have to go and pump the gas or
Right.
shove. But my wife enjoys those things.
So I was kind of raised to be really independent, and it was kind of weird for me as well, having her take away some of my independence, like, you know, washing dishes. I have my own way of washing dishes.
Mhm.
I have my own way of washing clothes. That's one thing that we don't do. I don't let her wash my clothes because she's like a dumper, right?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
a dumper and hit the button.
Yeah.
Me, everything's got to be taken out. Some things have to be dry. Some
For
things
sure.
have to be. So that's kind of funny for us. But one thing I can't get my wife to do is cut the grass. She will never. I try to get her to do different things
Really?
to kind of break those gender roles just for fun. It's kind of like a cute thing that I do with her, but I can't get her to do it. She will not break. She will not cut the grass. She won't even touch the lawnmower.
Really?
It cracks me up. Yeah. Let me ask you this: who do you think is more emotionally intelligent, men or women?
I can't say all men, but I can tell
Okay.
you I'm more emotionally intelligent than my wife.
Oh.
I can't speak.
So,
for
okay.
every
So
man.
what is emotional intelligence?
So
To you.
I'm the one that has to break the ice. I'm the one that has to kind of like. It's kind of weird because I feel like I'm the female in a way. And when I say female, I'm more of a.
I'm cutting that out.
No,
That's getting cut out.
No, let me reiterate.
I got
Let
you.
me-
Go ahead, man.
So I feel like I'm the one that has to take the bigger role in communicating.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times, men are the ones. Like a woman comes to their man, he won't ever talk to me. He won't ever talk to me, and she always wants to talk. Well, I'm that way. I'm the
Mhm.
one that, hey, honey, what's wrong? She's the one I have. Like she'll shut down. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I have to kind of pull that out of her.
Mhm.
That's why I'm saying like I'm kind of like the one that is.
No, I get it. I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
I think to some degree that is almost a leadership quality that
For sure.
men have in relationships because women are emotional by nature, right? That's what they appeal to naturally. And our logical minds come in. And I think that we want to fix things. We want a
Oh,
solution to
100%.
everything.
100%.
And sometimes they want to be in their emotions, and sometimes it's not the time to be in your emotions when we have to do something that is time sensitive,
For sure.
or we have to get past something, or we have to work through something in order to keep our family moving along.
Mhm.
I see a lot of relationships break down at those points where men try to come in and fix things, and women don't want it to be fixed. They just want you to listen. I think the emotional intelligence goes back and forth. It's times where my wife is a lot more emotionally intelligent with me. But I will say that you have a point that oftentimes men are the ones who want to talk
Oh yeah.
and women want to close up. And that does something to
It's
us.
like the
it does
roles
something to you.
reversed.
Yeah.
It destroys my day. I realized I have to talk situations
Mhm.
out.
I've kind of gotten past that though. Just over time, I don't know if it's just loss of sensitivity from relationships.
True, very
and
true.
things like that. I just kind of like, if we're not having a good day, I just let it not be a good day. I just kind of let it go. We'll have some space, we'll have some distance. We might not talk as much as we do. I just look forward to once those emotions, once they go away, then we can come back to the table. I kind of use that time to just kind of get away myself and just relax. And I don't know if that's helpful or if it's harmful to the relationship.
But you got
But
a unique
I
situation
I
in
do.
your marriage.
Lat
Like,
life.
we stay together. Me and my wife, man, we still in the same house.
But
You
it
know?
bothers me. It would bother me still. Like in the past, I've been in relationships within the same house, right? And that's bothered me a ton. And I would think that having a longer distance relationship, that it would bother me even more.
Even more, right?
But I think just through my growth of working through things, I've came to a point where I try to find my own inner peace. And because I hate, that's one thing I can say. That's one thing I don't like about women. I'll be honest. All right.
What's
And
that?
I'm saying this directly to women. I hate the roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
I hate the roller coaster, right? If we have a problem, if we have an issue, we can get it done like that. if we actually come to the table and talk directly about it, work through it, and move on with our day? Do we really have to overly dramatize these events, these things that happen? But a lot of things that we kind of have these different issues with are just so insignificant, and it's all emotionally based. Yep. And then what happens is we end up, as men, we have to appeal to your emotions for a whole day or two or a whole week, right? Make sure you're happy. That's why we ask those questions all the time. Like, are you okay?
Yep.
Are you okay? Because you wear it on your face, right?
Exactly.
And you wear it in your actions. You wear it when you come in the house and you slam something down on the table when you go in your room, or the distance. Men hate distance. You know, I think it pokes at our instinctual connections to our mothers, right? Growing up. I think when we feel that abandonment, you know, because women are, you know, to some degree, they do things for us like our moms. They take care of us. And then the relationship and the other things that, you know, we do in relationships are extra. But there's a certain part of your wife that is motherly. So when they pull that away, it's devastating.
For sure.
I got tired of being devastated. To be honest. And so when I have those issues, I just kind of walk away myself and give my wife some time to breathe. You know, I'm not doing anything bad or anything. I'm just giving her time to breathe, giving her time to get back to our relationship.
For sure.
And work through it. Usually we come back to the table and talk about it. I think for me, that's the only way I can do it. So let's see here, man. Let me ask you something else. What roles does vulnerability play in a healthy relationship, and how do we navigate it?
Just probably 2 weeks ago, she said, I want you to be more vulnerable.
Okay.
With me. She was like, you don't have to be Superman. To me, a woman is supposed to be a man's helpmate. That's what they're put on this earth for. Right or wrong, indifferent. That's our support. You know. And I feel like there's too many times where women don't want to be that vulnerable because they want to be the head. You know, and I tell my wife all the time, there can't be two captains. There's no two quarterbacks on the field. There's no two pilots. There's a co-pilot and a pilot. There's a quarterback and everybody else. Right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their specific roles.
But she was asking you to be vulnerable to
the point because she feels like I feel that I have to be a Superman. And
that didn't feel good to you, though? That didn't feel like...
No. That she's telling me that I don't need to be that.
She's asking you to be more vulnerable, right?
Right, but then I felt as though it was coming from a place that you don't have to be as strong. Let me be stronger.
You thought it was a trade-off.
Correct.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
But we talked about communicating, right? Effective communication.
For sure.
But did you ask her, are you trying to take my leadership away from me?
No, and this goes from a previous conversation. Okay. She flat out told me, why can't we both be captains? So I've always had that in the back of my head that she doesn't want to be the vulnerable. I think because there is an alpha and a beta. There ain't two alphas in nothing. I'm not going to take that beta role. You see what I'm saying? And that's where I think I might have taken it just because of the previous conversations we've had leading up to talking about being vulnerable. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. In my own personal relationship, my marriage, I've learned to just let go, honestly. If you want to have some control, go right ahead.
100%.
For me, this is how I view things. Well, in certain instances in our relationship, my wife has a special skill set that I don't have.
For sure.
And in certain other instances, I have tools and skills that she does not possess as well, just naturally. And in those instances, I've learned to just let it go, right? And I've learned that my wife has a master skill set in certain things that I'm not ready. And at that time, I need to be the student and let her lead. Like, for instance, when I'm writing papers or I'm doing something that is clerical or anything to do with office stuff, organizing, if I'm putting pictures up in certain ways, if I'm trying to do something designer-like, my wife is very in tune with designing.
For sure.
And she has a wedding consulting business and all that stuff. So she knows that more than me. So I'm like, yeah, you can have it. Tell me exactly what to do, and I'll just do exactly what you need me to do. And then I try to get her to do that in instances when I have things because we both come from different backgrounds.
100%.
So I've learned to be a little bit more vulnerable and just let some of that power go because it's not going to change anything,
Sure.
right? I mean, as long as we can, if the end result is she feels like I'm giving her what she requests, like that vulnerability, so what, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm the one who is going to be the protector, the provider, and the person who is the leader in the family at the end of it. Anyway,
Sure.
Sometimes leadership is just giving up a little bit of power, right? Sometimes
I
that
like
is
that
leadership.
perspective.
Now, it doesn't mean that I'm right
No,
at
not
all.
at all.
It's just it's right in my life.
For sure.
In
It's
your
just a
life.
different
Yeah.
perspective. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know where we got into in society where like it's only one right,
It's never, yeah.
right? It's in our politics, it's in our conversations, it's in everything that we do. There's always one side that has to be right, and I think it destroys the conversation, the communication, and that boils down in our relationships too. It can be two things can be right at the same
For
time.
sure.
Just because one thing is right doesn't mean the other thing is wrong. And I think we need to get away from that, especially if we hope to change the dynamics of our relationships in our culture. I think we got to get away from that 100%. But let me ask you, how do you define love, and how do you think women's expectation of love differ from men's?
So I feel as though everybody has a different love. I really am big on the love languages, 5 love languages. I think that can identify, especially what a person really, really identifies for them as love, because love isn't just one thing. I can, do acts of service for a person, and that's not their love language. It's not going to resonate with them. And so I have to figure out what that person's love language, and I had to learn what my love languages were, and feed those to my wife so she understands this is what really truly gets to my core.
Yeah, I get that. So if it was something, since you've been married 5 years, I've been married close to 2, and I think that we need to share that information. That's why men come together talking about things, women come together talking about things, men and women come together talking about things, working out things can actually create a lot of solutions if we don't have that mindset of one side has to be right, the other side has to be wrong. So if you had some bit of advice that you would want to share with someone out there watching, some young man who wants to get married eventually and wants to have a successful relationship, what is some advice that you would share with him?
I would actually tell you, or anyone, I would value respect over love. And I say that because if a person respects you, love is going to come. When you respect somebody, that respect is going to have you on the forefront of their mind. They're going to think about you. They respect whatever decisions they make when you're with them or when you're not with them. The respect brings on love. I feel like being respected by your spouse is because love is going to come.
Okay. Well, I mean that's a good thing. I think respect is something that has to be there. Love has to be there, but I don't think you can get love without respect.
That's what I'm saying. You have to have respect first to get love.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I kind of feel like if it was anything that I can tell someone watching this show about marriage and relationships and anything really in life, period, is that it's not your job to save the person or to fix the person who you're with.
100%.
Your job is to make sure that you're happy, that you feel love, that you feel self-confident. And I think you have to do it that way. And I think if two people have those same mindsets, that we're not here to fix each other, we're not here to make each other work. We just value the fact that we're in this relationship together. Then you have a solid relationship, because oftentimes we get in these relationships because we are trauma bonding, right?
For sure.
You have problems in your life, I have problems in my life. We come together, we talk about it, have sex, and then a few months later, we're in a committed relationship, moving into each other's homes.
For sure.
Right. And I don't think that's always going to work out, because that's why you get those layers, because you start to peel back those layers and you like, man, I can't fix this. So I think you need to be healed before you get into a relationship.
That's another good.
Because a healed person is a happy person.
Sure.
Two happy people make a happy relationship. You need to not go into a relationship where you feel like you have to fix anything, where you have to bring solutions. That's not happiness, especially for men. That's where we end up. Like I said, we're a product of we are responsible, men alone, for this huge relationship marital divorce rate that's happening in this country. It's our fault. It's not women's fault. And I say that because we're the leaders, and we have to be more accountable to ourselves, and we have to make sure that when we are picking someone to marry, when we are picking someone to have a relationship with, that they are happy and they are whole and they are healed. We don't have to fix everything. Some other advice that I would give to men who are looking at this, who want a valuable relationship, is let go, relax.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be everything. You can just let your wife or let your woman do some things for you. You know, let her take the wheel sometimes.
Sure.
Give her opportunities to step up. I think sometimes we feel like we're not doing our job if our wives, and this ain't nothing to do with you, this is just my own personal. If we let our wives pump the gas, we feel like, so I look on, like, I see like these different things in memes, right? It's just this guy, he took a picture of this girl pumping the gas, and this dude is sitting inside like this. And he's like, I don't know, smoking a cigarette or something. And he's like, this is some sucker shit or something like that, never let you. For me, it's, you want to pump the gas this time, go right ahead. Pump it. I don't care. At the end of the day, did you feel like I didn't love you when you pumped the gas?
Right.
Did I force you to pump it? Because naturally, I will try to do those things at first. But one thing that I do try to do is I say, hey, do you want to do it? I don't have to do this. Who wants to drive a car? Well, then if that's the case, then I guess we drive our women around everywhere too.
Yeah.
and when we pull up to where we at, we get out the car, run around.
Well, that's called chivalry, though. That's what they want that too, though.
We open it. Yeah, I mean, somewhere it has to stop. Somewhere it's not logical. So I think it's just certain points in time where we do have to let go. But I do understand what you say when you say that, you believe that you have to pump the gas for your wife, and you believe that you have these different things that, are important to the dynamics in your relationship. And if your wife's comfortable with that, fine. Mm-hmm. If she wants to pump the gas though one day, why not?
Why not?
So, man, I mean, I really appreciate you coming out.
Sure.
I really appreciate you being on the show today for a number of reasons. One, because I like the way you think. You have a great business mindset, and you are not afraid to get out there into the world and do something, whether you succeed or fail. And I think that's a great quality. Sure. So I think, would you like to talk about your food truck business? I think it's really cool. Sure. Would you like to put a plug out for that?
Yeah. So I actually own a food truck called Carnival Craze. We actually are the first shipping container food truck in Indiana. We have all the festival foods: elephant ears, funnel cakes, cotton candies, lemon shake-ups, you name it. Every festival food you can come up with. But it's been a journey. It's been a great journey. Mm-hmm. God's really been blessing me to get this off. So I'm excited. Definitely look us up on Facebook. Carnival Craze is the name. You'll definitely see some cool things on there, and we're excited for this upcoming year. So
awesome. Man, well, I'm your host, Shay, and I'd like to thank you all for viewing. Let me know what you think. Drop me some comments in the comment box, whether you liked it, hated it, or you got something that you wanted to express. Most times I'll be able to reach back out to you and connect with you. And you can also reach out to me at cob.geneva@gmail.com. We would love to possibly have viewers who are active in the comment section on the show, and I can feed you into the show. And you'll be a part of the show. I ask you questions just like I'm doing with my buddy John right now. Sure. So thank you again for coming out. Like I said, I'm your host, Shay. I want you all to have a wonderful day, afternoon, weekend, whatever, and stay safe. Bye-bye.